Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in this crazy world. I'm in Spain, of course, and it is just about 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's good morning. I'm on my second coffee. Um, just taking the dogs for a nice little walk. The weather's beautiful, but it's early. So it's going to be hot, hot, hot later here. And I'm very fortunate because I'm going to lunch at a friend's house and my friend has a pool. So I'm hoping to have my first swim of the year because it's suddenly really heated up here in Spain. It's like a light going on. It's like someone's turned the thermostat up. It tends to go like that towards the end of May. And then as we go into June, June will be bearable. Then we've got July and August into the infierno. But anyway, today, I'm looking forward to having some food put in front of me for a change rather than me having to cook it myself. I'm looking forward to having a swim. I'm looking forward to getting some sun. Though I think it might be a little bit hot later to sunbathe. And of course, today is FA Cup final day. If you're watching this video the day I'm releasing it on the 25th of May 2024. It's the FA Cup final between Manchester City and Manchester United, a derby final for the second year in succession. So obviously I'll be cheering City on, and we've won the championship, so I'm happy with that. But of course, it's great if we win the FA Cup, and even better if we beat Manchester United. You just see those Manchester United fans so miserable. But I'm a City fan, so to me, I'm just glad it's going to a Manchester team. Anyway, so I thought I'd come on and make a video for this morning. I may be back tonight, Saturday night. I'm leaving sort of Sebastian Rogers' case behind a little bit. Not that I don't care about Sebastian, which reminds me I'm going to light the candle for Sebastian. And it's just everything was getting a bit too much in the true crime world in general. It can get a little bit depressing. And as far as Sebastian's case is concerned, this is especially for Sebastian, but as you know, it's for anyone who's feeling lost one way or another. All of us occasionally feel lost, don't we? Even if it's not in a physical sense. I hope Sebastian is found soon, and I hope he is safe and well. But the drama of it all, and the gossip, and the he said, she said, I just can't stand it, to be honest. And it's horrible watching YouTubers just like revel in it and just become a gossip fest. So I can't stand it. So I'm going to wait until there's some official news or some proper news, like not just, oh, did you see what Chris Proudfoot said, or did you see what Seth said, or this is happening, when I've got some proper news. And of course, I haven't forgotten about Samantha Murphy, but there's never any news about Samantha. I look every day. We've got Rachel Marin looking for her killer. No news. Anna Knezovic, at least her husband is in custody, but no news is coming out. All these different cases that we've been following. And I'm going to start looking at some other cases. I've got one in particular that I want to look at. And of course, Micah, I'm waiting again for some official news that Micah's husband, Micah Miller, who it seems like she did kill herself, I'm looking for some official news that her husband is still going to be charged with something, because if anyone deserves to be charged with anything, it's him. And I will be looking in a video, what is a pastor? Because he's Pastor John Paul. How do you become a pastor in America? What qualifications do you need? Do you need to go on a training course, or could I just turn up there tomorrow and say I'm a pastor? So I think I am going to look at that in a video. Maybe later on, maybe that's the video that I'll do later today. Let me know what you think if you're interested in that. But this morning, I was going to try and stay away from election things because I expect if you're in the UK, if you're not in the UK, you may not know, but the oh, fantastic Prime Minister Rishi Sunak called a general election on Thursday. Totally out of the blue. It was so out of the blue, even his own MPs were shocked. You know, even his own party had no clue that he was going to call it for. Well, they knew we had to have one this year because that's when the election's due, but he could have gone right up to the autumn. But no, he's going to have this on the July the 4th on Independence Day. And the more you sort of look into this, there's reasons why he called it so quickly. Anyway, I was going to, because I expect if you live in the UK, you'll be sick to death of it. If you live in other countries, maybe you're not interested, or maybe you are interested to see how it works. You probably know how things work in your country, but maybe not in others, you know. But also, there's nothing like batshit Britain to make an interest, you know, he's going to be interesting one way or another, or I think so. I think politics is interesting. If you don't, that's fair enough. I understand if you don't want to watch this video, but I hope I can make it interesting for you because it's the irony. I mean, you just could not make it up. You know, we've had 14 years of this Conservative government and it's gone from, well, it'd be a joke, except it's not funny, but that's how it feels. It's just lurched from one thing to another, you know, it's just crazy things. Anyway, so we ended up with Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister. So we had, first of all, we had David Cameron. I call him the pig Prime Minister because, of course, David Cameron is famous. Let's have a look at David Cameron. Lord Cameron. I will never call him Lord Cameron. Never. He's not a lord to me. That was another absolute stain on Britain, that David Cameron, who was our Prime Minister, he's the Prime Minister that ended up giving us the disaster that was Brexit, because he decided we should have a referendum. He decided, so he's now the Right Honourable Lord Cameron. Excuse my French, but fuck off. He's not a lord. For what? What was his services? What did he achieve? Absolutely nothing. So he took Britain into the referendum on Brexit. He lost the referendum. He immediately resigned. He brought austerity to Britain. That's why Britain is in the shithole that it's in now. Literally, because there's sewage running in the rivers, privatising the water companies. You know, you can't. Anyway, so I call him the pig Prime Minister because the Right Honourable Lord Cameron is also famous for having sex with a dead pig's head when he was at university, because he's one of those university boys, you know, from the like Eton or Cambridge or one of those, and they're all it's a boys' club. And he's famous for at some party, I suppose you'd be like, if you're American, it's like a frat boy party, you know, actually having sex with a dead pig's head. And this man then became Prime Minister of Britain. It chokes me. I swear it makes me cry because I am British. And, you know, people think I'm not patriotic because I moan about the government or because I live in Spain. I am patriotic. I want to go back to when Britain was something to be proud of. This man and all the people that followed him, these are responsible for our reputation. Do you think other people in other countries don't know that our Prime Minister once had sex with a pig's head? A dead pig's head. You know, what sort of people are in charge of our country? Anyway, so he's the pig's head Prime Minister. He was then followed, of course, by Theresa May. She's probably the best out of all of them, but nobody appreciated. She was a little bit better than the others, but she could not get Brexit done, could she? Because she was trying to do it in a measured way, a nice way, you know, trying to placate Europe and, you know, if you don't think, I just want people to imagine if you were in a club of some kind and you'd been in it for years, like 60 years, and everyone had been paying their subs, and everyone was getting benefits from it. Not only other countries, Britain had a lot of benefits from Europe, but of course you never hear those being talked about. And then suddenly one person said, I don't want to be in this club anymore. Don't like it. I don't like it, but I want all the benefits still. Yes, I don't want to, I want everything that I had before, but I don't want to be in this club. I'm going. You're all a load of tossers. I can't stand you all. So that's how it sort of came over in Europe. It was like not only they wanted to leave, but they were very, the Farage and the Widdicombe's of this world, childish, petulant, turning their back on the European flag. The disrespect, acting like, children. It's like some sort of British farce. They couldn't even do it in an adult way. So that was Theresa May. So what will we call her? What can we call Theresa May? The Brexit failure Prime Minister. She was then quickly followed by Boris Johnson, the clown Prime Minister, the tramp. He always looked like he'd been dragged through a hedge backwards, making jokes about everything. Just like, the sort of guy you might want to go out for a drink with and have a laugh, but not the sort of guy that should be a Prime Minister. Made us a complete laughing stock throughout the world. Absolute awful. Partied all the way through the COVID gave all his mates. Do you know? Have you know? Honestly, God, every time I see people being interviewed, they're all barons, baronesses, lords. It's given out peerages. In the end, he was chastised for giving out too many peerages. They need to get rid of that, lords. It is just ridiculous. Too many people. Some people deserve the honours that they're given. These political honours are just normally given. Oh, we've got a Russian in there. We've got a Russian, Lebedev, Boris Johnson's mate. Let's have a look at a picture of Boris Johnson. I'm sure you all know what he looks like. But he made his mate, a Russian mate, a lord in the British House of Lords. I still don't know why people aren't, incensed by that. Even if you believed in the House of Lords, you wouldn't want a Russian in there. I mean, look at the state of him. Look at him. He thinks he looks, I don't know what he thinks he looks, but a lot of women like him. I think he gives them Rofinol or something, because he's been through more women than you can imagine. So, women like him. I have no idea why. He's not got nice personality. He's not good looking. He's got nothing. Maybe he's got a bit of money. I don't know. But oh God, just looking at him, I hate him. But of course, his brother is now a lord in the House of Lords. He tried to make his father a lord, and he's the one that brought about Brexit. He got Brexit done, didn't he? Got Brexit done. And after which, promptly, his father changed his nationality, got himself a Greek passport. He just couldn't make it up. He just could not make it up. So then we had him. He's the clown Prime Minister, or the tramp Prime Minister. Then we had, of course, let me show you. Sorry, I forgot to show the photo. This is Boris. Look at the state of him. Your Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, ruined our reputation even more across the world. Then, just as you thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. And we had Liz Truss, the lettuce Prime Minister. She didn't last as long as an iceberg lettuce. She became Prime Minister just long enough to overview the Queen's death, which thank God it wasn't Boris Johnson. That's all I'll say. But not that I like her anymore. She came in. How long was she Prime Minister? It was about 30 days, was it, or something? I don't know. Ridiculous. She ruined the economy, her and Kamikaze Kwarteng. just as if things weren't even bad enough before, she just made everything even worse. Then, so that was the lettuce Prime Minister. Then we got rid of her. And then, of course, that's when we ended up with good old snaky Sunak, Rishi Sunak, a multi-millionaire. And he is our current Prime Minister, of course. Not just saying that he's my Prime Minister. Look, I mean, at least, I was going to say, at least he looks smart. Till he went out in the rain and got absolutely soaked wet through. But, but he looks like Roland Rat. I mean, looks don't matter. But at the end of the day, it's not what they look like that counts. But, it's just like, would you trust this man? I just think he's so false every time I see him. It's like, it's like everything's false about him. I don't know why he wanted to be Prime Minister, just to say, because, he's like bought his way to the top, hasn't he? He was Chancellor beforehand. He parted through COVID as well. He received a fine. If you ever imagine the Prime Minister and his Chancellor receiving a fine for breaking COVID rules, the rules that they made. We've got to get our head around this. It's like it's in another country. If we heard that about Russia, that Putin and his deputy or whatever had been fined for breaking COVID rules, we'd be like, oh, it's terrible in Russia, isn't it? God, what Putin gets up to, and he can get away with anything. It's a dictatorship. Well, telling you now, Britain at this current point in time is like a dictatorship. They've silenced protest. I would always be surprised if it ever comes to an election. I'm always expecting something to happen, whereas we never get rid of these people. But anyway, there you go. The Right Honourable Rishi Sunak, MP. Snaky Sunak. I tell you what, it's not just me who calls him snaky, his own MPs. So bear in mind, Rishi never actually got elected, even his own party, because when Boris went, his own party members, the Conservative Party voted for the next leader, and Liz Truss won. He just snuck in through the back door. He's never won an election for anything, not to be leader, not to be Prime Minister. And it doesn't look as if it's going to. Now, I don't like to, get too excited about it, because he may end up winning. I'm even laughing when I'm saying it. Everybody laughs when they say it, but we could be wrong, It's like just maybe he will win. But now, so suddenly on Thursday, after all conjecture, all year really, when's the general election going to be? Had to be sometime this year. He just suddenly came out, literally in that morning, he'd been in Parliament promising people he was going to put bills through, do this, do that. And then literally a couple of hours later, he was on the TV in the pissing wet rain with Things Can Only Get Better playing in the background by a protester who's Steve Bray, who's been protesting at Parliament forever. I mean, he used to protest about Brexit. He was a guy who played the Benny Hill song behind MPs as they were talking and that, and he got banned and he got removed and his amps got taken off him. Anyway, he keeps coming back, and he managed to just keeps buying bigger amps, because they just keep pushing him further and further away from Downing Street, hoping that they can shut him up. They'll never shut him up. Anyway, he bought these bigger amps and he was there on that day, and it's thanks to him that Rishi Sunak, as if it didn't look as ridiculous enough that he was soaking wet through, because for some reason he didn't think he needed an umbrella. If that wasn't ridiculous enough, then in the background you could hear Steve Bray playing Things Can Only Get Better, which was, of course, Tony Blair's theme song, if you like, for his first election campaign. you know, that he won like with a landslide. So, and that song now has gone back into the charts. I think it's at #2 on the downloaded iTunes charts. You know, things can only get better. You know, I've got it running through my head all the time now since Thursday. So he cut a ridiculous figure, didn't he? Let's just have a look at that, just to remind you how ridiculous he looked. I mean, who is advising him? You know, you just think, first of all, they say to him, no, don't go out in the rain. Now, some people were saying, oh, why didn't you do it inside? Well, apparently, I've read up on that if he does it inside, he's not supposed to do, because it was to do with an election. He's not supposed to do that inside 10 Downing Street or some load of rubbish. But he could have had an umbrella. He could have, there's lots of different things he could do. But instead, no, he did this. So this is our Prime Minister, thinking that this is a good look.
To secure a better future for our country and our children.
Oh. They didn't play it till the end.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top
stuff. No, I want the one where they play it to the end, because I want to see him turn round. Hang on. God. I want, because it's so funny at the end when he turns round and walks into the... Right, my computer's just gone weirdy now. Okay, let's have a look.
In the last 5 years, our country has...
I mean, you can hear the rain absolutely hammering down, can't you? Anyway, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just want to see the end of it.
Labour Party. Because I don't know what they offer. And in truth, I don't think you know either. And that's because they have no plan. There is no bold action. And as a result, the future can only be uncertain with them.
So basically, his tactic seems to be just saying that vote for me because Labour have no plan, even though Labour have outlined their plan. That seems to be just what he's saying. Oh, we've got a plan. No, you haven't got a plan. 14 years. 14 years your government has been in charge. And what is better? That's the only thing I would say to people. And honestly, you know, I'm just open about my political leanings, but truthfully and honestly, if somebody can say to me one thing, just one even, that is better in Britain after 14 years, and I know there's been challenges for every country, you know, COVID, wars, etc. But you don't have to get involved in wars, you know. You don't have to send all your money to Ukraine to arm them. You could spend it on the people in your own country who need help. You know, it's these are all choices that the government has made for various reasons. So, but all countries have had those problems. And even despite those problems, please name one thing that is better. So you've got sewage in your water, in your seas and rivers. You can't drink the water out the tap now. You've got a boil it. Your trains are mega expensive. All your transport is shite. What is better? You know, the gap between the rich and poor has got bigger. Children are starving. There's not enough space in prisons, so they're just putting people in prison. So there's no, you know, there's no punishment for crimes unless people do something really big, you know, really bad crime. People are just getting out because there's nowhere to put them. Everything's wrong. Homelessness is higher than it's ever been. There's more food banks than McDonald's. You know, please, somebody tell me something that is better about Britain. But it's not. But it's all Labour's fault. He's trying to say He sounds like he's trying to say, oh, it's all the Labour government's fault from 14 years ago and Labour have no plan. Okay, we'll see.
On the 5th of July, either Keir Starmer or I will be Prime Minister. He has shown time and time again that he...
But they seem to have shut up the music there. I want to listen to a bit with the music because it was hilarious.
Regional and ultimately global stability. These tensions are exploited by extremists who seek to undermine our values and divide our society here at home. China is looking to dominate the 21st century by stealing a lead in technology. And migration is being weaponized by hostile states to threaten the...
Do you know what I mean? It's like he must have known Steve Bray. That's what he does. You know, he does it. It is like he's done it for years. So he must have known that that was going to happen. Anyway, apparently Steve Bray's amps blew anyway in the rain, you know, because of the rain. They were trying. He did have an umbrella over his amps, unlike Rishi, who didn't have an umbrella on. But anyway, apparently his amps blew. But now the police have told him he's not allowed anywhere near Downing Street in future because 2 people complained about him, which was probably Rishi and his wife, his mega rich billionaire wife. Anyway, so let's just go to the end of it because this is what just made me laugh.
How can you know that he won't do exactly the same thing if he were to become Prime Minister? If you don't have the conviction to stick to anything you say, if you don't have the courage to tell people what you want to do, and if you don't have a plan, how can you possibly be trusted to lead our country?
Exactly. That's why you can't be trusted to lead our country. You know, he's trying to be all stern there. I call him the Winnie the Pooh Prime Minister because he's just like, he's trying to be, you know, I'm not being funny, but someone needs to ask him, does he like Barbara Streisand? Because he's not tough. He's not, you know, he's not somebody that you feel that you can rely on. He's in a bubble. He's in a little bubble where he thinks he's great because he's probably been told he's great all his life by his parents and now his wife. He's like pampered little Richi Rishi Sunak, the Winnie the Pooh Prime Minister. So we've had the pig's head Prime Minister, the clown or the tramp Prime Minister. We've had the Brexit failure Prime Minister. We've had the lettuce Prime Minister. And now we've got the Winnie the Pooh Prime Minister. Who's going to be the next one? So let's just look at him, look at the end of this.
Especially at this most uncertain of times. Over the next few weeks, I will fight for every vote. I will earn your trust, and I will prove to you that only a Conservative government led by me will not put our hard-earned economic stability at risk, can restore pride and confidence in our country, and with a clear plan and bold action, will deliver a secure future for you, your family, and our United Kingdom.
Look at the state of him. He's soaking wet through. And he probably got back in there and was like really angry, tearing off his jacket and what have you. Fucking rain. No, he probably doesn't swear because he's a bit Mr. Goody-Goody, isn't he? He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't swear probably, I don't know. He's Mr. Perfect. Yeah, good old Rishi. Anyway, so that was the start of it. And you thought, oh, after it all went wrong that day with the rain and the things can only get better, you think, oh, things can only get better. So no, because the next day he starts off on his campaign trail. So first of all, there's been a bit of conjecture about why he called it. So the Tory party is like catalytic, you know, it's just like, oh my God, because there's a lot of MPs, Tories, that they probably won't win their seat again. You know, they've seen that in the local elections, which were a total failure for the Tories. So they were hoping they'd have till at least November or October, November to, you know, hope that things turned around a bit and they might have a chance of hanging on to their seat. No, now they've only got 6 weeks to get organised, get out there. And so a lot of them know it's not going to happen. So far we have had, I did write it down somewhere. I think it's 22 Tory MPs have said they're not going to stand in the next election, and that includes Michael Gove and some other really, Andrea Leadsom, a lot of really high-profile Tory MPs. They're not standing in the next election. They're rats deserting a sinking ship. You know, definitely. They're like, I'm off out of here. I'm not staying around to have what they call the Portillo moment, because Michael Portillo, who was a Tory MP, he now goes around the country on trains, doesn't he, doing travel programmes. He lost his seat, you know, in an election, and he was a government minister. So none of these ministers and things want a Portillo moment. They don't want to not get voted in, you know. So they're leaving now. They're leaving now before 22. So it's going to be, it's that this means that the Tories have got to find someone to stand. Do you see what I'm saying? So they need 22 new MPs. So if you're in the Tory party, you've got a good chance of getting to stand as an MP, because they're desperate. They'd probably let me stand if I went, because they just need someone, anyone. So that's one thing that's happened. Now there's a lot of talk that maybe Rishi has done this deliberately because he knew there were a lot of votes of no confidence going in against him, and he probably was going to get boosted anyway before the election in October, November. So he's just jumped in like out of spite and called the election, which he's a very petulant man. He's a very petulant man. So that wouldn't surprise me in the least. It's like, oh, well, you know, you think you're going to ooze me, right? Well, I'm going to call the general election. You know, that's, you know, I could just imagine he even talks like that. So that's what he's doing. Anyway, whatever the reasons, he's done it. Maybe because there was a little bit of good economic news, wasn't there? Something about inflation had stopped rising, or we'd come out of recession supposedly. So there was a little smidgen of positive news. So he probably thought, oh, better call it now while there's a little bit of positive news. So off he set. So the next day, the election campaign starts. You think, oh, it can't get any worse than him sort of standing there in the pouring down rain without an umbrella, with things can only get better playing in the background. But of course they did. And now this is what makes me think, is he doing it on purpose? Does he definitely, because also rumours are going around that it's his family that have said to him, you know, we don't want you to be prime minister. It's not fun like we thought it would be. You know, we've been in number 10 now. We've stayed a few weekends at Chequers. We've done that. You know, like people go, oh, yeah, I've done Las Vegas. I've done Italy. I've done whatever. It's always amazing when people say that. It's like they've done it. So they've been and looked at it and then they've done it. But that's how I feel that it is with the Sunaks. It's like, oh, yeah, we've done being the Prime Minister. Time for the next project now. We've done that. We've done number 10. We've done Chequers. We've done riding around in a helicopter and having doors open for us and convoys. And, you know, let's do something else. Because, of course, Rishi Sunak, you know, there's a joke goes round, isn't it? That, what is it? An Englishman, an Indian man, and an American walk into a bar, and the barman turns around and says, what can I get you, Rishi? Because Rishi's got 3 nationalities, so he can go anywhere. Apparently he's going to America. You know, this is, some people are very cynically saying, and it's allegedly, I'm not saying this, I'm just saying what people are saying, that he's getting out now because he wants to go to California. And the schools, of course, start in September. So he wants to he couldn't wait till November because his kids will have missed the start of school. So he's getting it in now. So by the time he's out of Downing Street, you know, he'll have time to get his kids enrolled in school in California, which could well be true. I don't know. Just rumours going round. So he starts his campaign. You think he can't do any worse than that. Standing in the piss wet rain with things can only get better playing in the background. Oh, but no, of course they can get worse. Of course they can get worse. So his very first day was just a joke. You just think, what are his PR? If you think PR, you know, like, I don't know, Prince Andrew's PR guy must not be, or woman mustn't be very good, or bloody Steph Rogers and Phony Tony who talks baloney, think they're bad PR guys. So first thing he does the next day is he goes to do a talk, or in fact it might have even been later that same day. He goes to do a talk at some factory warehouse somewhere, and he's got plants in the audience, and I don't mean plants, you know, that you put in your garden and you water. I'm talking about plants as in people who weren't real audience, conservative councillors. Joe, he's so false. He's so this is what I can't stand. You know, it's nothing to do with him being a Tory, even about not liking him. He's false as anything. It's all so contrived. So he went to this speech to do a speech at William Weston Sons Distribution Centre in Derbyshire. Went in his helicopter there, I believe. You know, he likes to fly around in his helicopter. And these two men here in high-vis jackets. Why? What is it with politicians, and they always want to talk to people who've got high-vis jackets on? You know, Boris Johnson started that, hard hats and high-vis jackets. You know, I've actually, and then Keir Starmer started doing it. I've sent him I've messaged him loads of times and say, don't, why are you doing that? Don't want to see politicians in hard hats and high-vis jackets. You're a politician. You're not a bloody builder or whatever. That's what, you know, it's like trying to say you're a man of the people or a woman of the people, because Liz Truss did it as well. But everybody knows you're not. You're a politician. You're the Prime Minister or the opposition leader. Don't want to see you in a high-vis jacket. Well, so Sunak's not got a high-vis jacket on, but he does this. If you ever watch him, he thinks he's really good at speaking, debate. He really does think he's good, but everything he does is contrived. None of it is natural. And I could just see through that straight away. I don't believe a word he says. No wonder they call him Snaky Sunak. His own party call him Snaky Sunak. So these two guys here, they don't work at this place. They're Conservative councillors that were brought along to ask questions. So what he did, he took questions from two men dressed in high-vis clothing at a warehouse in Derbyshire who turned out to be Conservative councillors. Now, do you know this hasn't even been reported on the BBC? Why not? This is terrible. You know, this again is exactly what you'd expect from a country like that everybody says Russia's like. You know, staged people that aren't even real. You know, really, they don't work there. They're not just normal people. They're Conservative councillors. So he was visiting a biscuit distribution centre in the marginal constituency of Airwash, where he gave a stump speech to people who appeared to be employees of the business. He took unchallenging questions from two men who were later found to be Conservative politicians. One of them was from a different county. Ben Hall Evans and Ross Hills were first identified by the Byline Times, with Hills confirming to the outlet that he had been present. So the incident raised questions about whether the men were plants. Of course they were plants. Why else would they be there? So to ask Sunak questions on his preferred topics, yeah, because he only wants to stick to what he wants to talk about, and whether the Conservatives will pursue a controlling approach to the election campaign. So that was the first thing he did wrong. So he's got, I can't believe there's not more fuss about this. You know, that's your Prime Minister, you know, literally lying. It's lies. It's not only, I don't know. It's not only sort of maybe going to a place where you think you've got more support. Obviously, nobody wants to go to a place and get heckled like that. But to actually bring people in and pretend they work there, that should be illegal for anyone, never mind a prime minister. Anyway, that's the first thing he did. Then the next thing he did wrong, this was all in one day or over a couple of days. So this is why his PR people are shite, because they released this photo of him on the plane because he's all busy on the campaign trail. He likes to appear that he's really busy and hardworking. Had him pictured in front of the exit sign on a plane. So that, we can imagine, that was all over all the news and the social media and what have you. And maybe they didn't think about it, but I do feel that I could probably make a better job of doing his PR than the ones that are doing it. You know, you just would make sure you could just cut that out of the photo, you know, lower the lens a little bit so you haven't got the exit sign. Honestly, some people, look, they have to be doing this on purpose. You know, people are thinking, is it because he doesn't even want to win? Sort of, I think that. There's rumours today, I'll just tell you now, because that he may even stand down himself. Because he's taken a day off from campaigning today. And he's apparently talking with his advisors. He's probably sacking these people. So that was the next thing that he did, or one of the things he did. Then he was in Wales, so he went all over, and he was in Wales, who haven't qualified for the Euros, by the way, asking them, are you all looking forward to the football?
Is he looking forward to all the football?
Not so much my bag. But,
Well,
no, but that's because you guys aren't in it.
Well, get people out, you know, there'll be people
I
coming.
don't even know they're not qualified.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to the football, to the Welsh who haven't qualified? So one of them says, yeah, some people will be supporting anyone that plays England. Of course, that's what the Scottish do as well. You know, I've had a Scottish boyfriend who is exactly the same. So who are you supporting? Anyone anyone except England? You know, because it's this sort of grudge thing, isn't it? So imagine asking Welsh people who haven't even qualified for the Euros, are you looking forward to the football? He hasn't got a clue. He's pretending to be a man of the people. That's the problem with Rishi. He's pretending. He would be better off just not even trying to pretend.
Some people would be supporting anyone that plays England.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He's a complete idiot. Now, the other thing that you have to remember about Rishi, and I don't know if any of you have seen this, but when he was younger, there's this infamous video of him saying that he hasn't got any working class friends. Let's see if I can pick it up. Yeah, it's a clip. I mean, this guy's been born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's trying to be a man of the people. Oh yeah, you're supporting. You're going to enjoy the football. Oh well, we've not qualified, idiot. So he doesn't even get it right.
I have friends who are aristocrats. I have friends who are upper class. I have friends who are, working class. But I'm not working class. But I mix and match, and then I go to see kids from an inner city state school and tell them, to apply to Oxford and talk to them about people like me. And then I shock them at the end of chatting to them for half an hour and tell them I was at Winchester and one of my best friends is from Eton or whatever. And then they're like, oh, okay. I have friends who are aristocrats. I have friends who are upper class. I have friends who are working class, but I'm not working class. But I mix and
Oh, not working class. And I don't know if this is his dad, but he seemed to find that hilarious. Oh no, he hasn't got friends that are working class. Oh my God. God, no.
match. And then I go to see kids from an inner city state school and tell them, to apply to Oxford and talk to them about people like me. And then I shock them at the end of chatting to them for half an hour and tell them I was at Winchester and one of my best friends is from Eton or whatever.
I've got to watch that again, I think.
Like, who are aristocrats. I have friends who are upper class. I have friends who are working class, but I'm not working class, but I mix and match, and then I go to see kids
What
from an inner city
tosser?
state school and tell them, to apply to Oxford and talk to them about people like me, and then I shock them at the end of chatting to them for half
So
an
of
hour and
course
tell
he'll
them
have
I was
had
at
an
Winchester,
arranged marriage,
and
but do you
one of
know
my best
what?
friends is
There's
from Eton or
something.
whatever, and then they're like, oh, okay.
She.
I have friends who are aristocrats. I
Yeah.
have friends who are upper class. I have friends who are, working class, but I'm not working class. But I mix and match, and then I go to see kids from an inner city.
Richie Rishi. No, no, no. And so I presume he had an arranged marriage, this guy, because I don't know, you know, allegedly, I just can't say what I'm thinking, but he's just a privileged kid there, and he gets an arranged marriage to a billionairess. This is our Prime Minister. There he is.
State school and tell them, to apply to Oxford and talk to them about people like me, and then I shock them at the end of chatting to them for half an hour and tell them I was at Winchester, and one of my best friends is from Eton or whatever, and
So it's like a Little Britain sketch, isn't it? Listening to Rishi talk to me is just like a Little Britain sketch. It's just on. He's in a little bubble. I'd rather he was just who he was. He just said, "Oh well, I don't give a shit about people. I'm just in my." Be honest, Rishi. Don't try and make out you're a man of the people. Asking Welsh people if they're looking forward to the football when they haven't even qualified. Come on. So that was another thing I wanted to show you. So what have it? Oh, so did the exit thing. Oh, and then the other thing he did. So apart from the plants in the audience at the factory or whatever, the warehouse, he's had his photo taken at the exit sign. And then the other thing he did, he went to visit the Titanic. This was quite funny. This was on Twitter. I'm going to share this. It was a little bit of a summary of all the things he did on his first day. So it's gone from bad to worse, just as you thought it couldn't get worse. You think things can only get better. No, they can get worse.
Prime Minister, we are just yards away from where the Titanic was built and designed. Are you captaining a sinking ship going into this election?
So for some unknown reason, his PR team thought it'd be a good idea for him to go to the home of where the Titanic was designed and built. So, does it not? So can you imagine? That's been all over even the mainstream media, social media. Yesterday, he went to the home of the Titanic. Was it like trying to show a metaphor? But when he got asked that question, I bet he thought, why have my PR teams? Do you think they want to get rid of him as well? Do you think everyone just wants to get rid of him? And look, he looks really uncomfortable with the question. He's probably thinking, I don't know. Why did we come here?
I'll bet you £1,000 to refugee charity. You don't get anybody on.
So this was the other thing, because he's now saying, this Rwanda shite that he's so bad, that won't make any difference to immigration, because most that they can take in Rwanda is 200 people a year. So, that ain't going to make any difference to people coming over on the boats. But anyway, never mind. Now, when he was interviewed by Piers Morgan, he had a bet with him, didn't he? To say he bet that the first planes would take off to Rwanda. He would get people to Rwanda before the election. And now he's admitted that there probably won't be anyone going off to Rwanda before the election. I bet you any money there is, though. I bet you any money about 2 days before the election, these planes will be going off. One plane anyway, with maybe 3 people on board. Just before election day, just before polling day, he'll save that. But he said that he won't. So Piers Morgan, he had a bet with Piers Morgan on Piers Morgan's show, £1,000 And now Piers Morgan wants his money, but he isn't giving it.
On those planes before the election. Will you take that bet?
Well, I want to get the people on the planes,
How
right?
much is it?
Of course I want to get the people on the planes.
£1,000.
right?
He won't pay it. This is where he's dreaming of going to Hollywood, going to California. Yeah.
Prime Minister, we are just yards away from where the Titanic was built and designed. Are you captaining a sinking ship going into this election?
Could make it up, could you?
I'll bet you £1,000 to a refugee charity. You don't get anybody on those planes before the election. Will you take that bet?
Well, I want to get the people on the planes,
How
right?
much is it?
Of course I want to get the people on the planes.
£1,000.
right?
Aye. That's where he's off. California. He's already got his green card. Then I thought this was quite funny. So I saw on Twitter today, because it's honestly, I could sit here all day and show you all the memes on Twitter, and there's just so much. So he's giving people so much fodder, if you like. So this guy, Robin, I don't know who he is, but Sunak, where am I going tomorrow? Comms team. Twats. That's where they're going to send him. They get a picture of him stood in front of that sign. Oh, God. Anyway, he's not going anywhere today. He's having a day off campaigning because he's done one day. That was enough. He's done one shite day of campaigning, so where everything went wrong. So he's having a day off today. So people are speculating that he himself may be stepping down. So I don't know what would happen there. If he steps down, who's going to be Prime Minister? Oh, I don't know, my God. So, dear me, have I gone through everything that I wanted to talk about? Till I've got my list. Titanic, exit plane, plants. Yeah, you know, not like I say, not the garden variety, but the plants in the warehouse. And the Wales football. And that's where he's going. That's where he's going. When he retires, he's going to live in that village. Twat. Oh, dear me, you really could not make it up, could you? You could not make it up. So I think that's all I wanted to show you. I'm sorry if I'm boring you with politics. I find it fascinating, because there's probably so much going on behind the scenes. And let me just see. So these Tory MPs that are standing down. You know, everything's gone so wrong for the Tories. 22. Right, got a list here, I think. But of course, it keeps changing all the time. I mean, there are Labour MPs then, you know, because people, whenever there's an election, you always get people standing down. Some people, it's because they've just done a long time. You know, they're older and they want to do something else, because it's hard being an MP. Well, if you're a proper MP, it's not hard for these Tory idiots that don't work properly. But, you know, we've got Theresa May, Sajid Javid, Dominic Raab, Matt Hancock, Ben Wallace, Nadeem Zahawi, John Redwood, and now, of course, we've got Andrea Leadsom and Michael Gove. And I think there's going to be more, because I did read that they've been asked not to all leave at once. So the thing is, they've got to announce that they're leaving. But I think every day you might get drip, 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 if you pardon the pun, because, of course, you know, Rishi is a drip, or he was a drip outside Downing Street. So apparently 10 Labour MPs are stepping down as well, but it's under half, you know, of the Tory ones that are stepping down. You know, and of course Labour's got their problems. We've got Jeremy Corbyn. He's going to stand as an independent in Islington, which is his seat, because he had the whip removed, meaning he can't stand as a Labour MP, and I believe he's now been expelled from the Labour Party, and he should be, because he's not, to me, someone like Jeremy Corbyn. Once he didn't win the last election, he should have just stepped back and backed whoever came forward. That's what Keir Starmer did with him. When someone's the leader of your party, you do have to back them. But no, Jeremy Corbyn's not doing that. It's like, oh no, he's just causing more problems, and then he'll just lead to another Conservative government getting in if he causes more and more problems. So I'm done with Jeremy Corbyn. If you think that you're doing a service to the British people by trying to make it look bad, you just fuck off. You had your chance, you failed, you did not win the election, so accept it, swallow it, go and let somebody else have a go, and back them like they backed you, whether they may or may not have agreed with everything you said. They backed you because you were the elected leader. That's what democracies are about. God, you were elected leader and you were backed by people that maybe weren't that keen on you really, but you had been elected by the Labour Party. So now somebody else has been elected by the Labour Party, so you should be backing them. If you care about Britain, if you care about the Labour Party, if you care about actually helping people out, it just makes me so mad. You can be so left-wing. Being left-wing is fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, but you have to abide by the decision of your party who elected Keir Starmer, whether you like Keir Starmer or not. He's the leader of the Labour Party. He's going to have a crack at trying to win an election now. Maybe you'll win. You didn't win. Fuck off and shut up. That's my opinion about Jeremy Corbyn. And he may have had all the best principles in the world, but he did not win. He did not win. You've got to win an election before you can change anything. So there you go. That's my opinion. Sorry, I swore. I always think I'm not going to swear, but sometimes that's why I couldn't be a politician, because I'd be like, they've got to be so you've got to be so level, and that I'd be like, is because it really, when you get passionate about things. And I really do care about Britain, and I certainly care about the way. I just cannot believe what's happened to Britain. I mean, I sometimes think, is it my fault? Because it's when I left. It's like I left Britain. Look, I looked away for a minute, just came to live in Spain for a while, and it all went to pot, and it's sort of just unbelievable. Brexit started it. I think, well, it was already starting, but Brexit really did it. And now I don't know what the way back is from Brexit. But anyway, hopefully Keir Starmer will find a way, but it won't be overnight. This if he gets in. So I shouldn't be complacent that he is going to get in, to be honest, because we don't know. But I do feel that at the moment, unless something drastic happens, it turns out someone unearths some scandal about Keir Starmer, which I don't think is going to happen for a minute. People say he's boring. Good. I like boring. Good. Let's have a boring prime minister. So unless something drastic happens, I can't see that he won't win. But you never know. You never know. But I think it feels at the moment like all Keir Starmer really has to do. So his election slogan is just change. Just that. It doesn't need any more than that. It's just like change. We just need something different. But also, I think it's worth his while really to keep low key, because as long as he doesn't say anything ridiculous, or none of his bloody party say anything ridiculous or do anything ridiculous, I can't see that he's not going to win. So he's going to just keep low key. That's what he does anyway. He goes around. He's no gimmicks, no fancy videos and this, that, and the other. Just be boring. People want boring. People are exhausted. I think British people, from what I know from my friends and family in the UK, and from, of course, my chatters on here, what people say. British people are exhausted with all the, and it's just been chaos, isn't it? Chaos, and just want some stability. So boring would be good. Boring would be good, in my opinion, anyway. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll find out. We will find out. Not that long to go either. Anyway, as always, let me know what you think. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. You might think Rishi Sunak is the best thing since sliced bread. You might think Keir Starmer is a joke. I don't mind what you think. One thing I would say is please vote, even if it is for someone I personally, I'm not telling you to vote for. You've got to make your own mind up. I'm just telling you my observations and how I feel. Please vote. Some people have said, in comments, oh, I'm never going to vote again or I won't vote, but I don't agree with that. I think you should vote. For whatever, you should vote. Just because there's a lot of people, died to give us the vote, if you like. So people say, oh, it doesn't count and it doesn't make any difference. But it won't make any difference if you don't vote, that's for sure. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to tell you, and I just want to see if I may have been blocked by Andrew Snowden because he was on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. And, I'm not horrible to him. I like some of it when he puts posts on about his dog, especially Heidi. Oh, no, he hasn't blocked me, bless him, I don't think. But he put a post on saying, let me show you. Because, of course, he's lost his seat. Not his seat. He's not the committee. Look, he's just, he's not there in his suit like doing his Top Gun videos anymore. The general election is on. There is so much at stake, not just nationally, but right here in Lancashire. We have some of the best MPs in the whole country to get re-elected. They're not going to get re-elected, Andrew. Sorry, just like you. That's why I've started the campaign out today for the fantastic Sir Brickliffe MP in Haslingden. I wonder, this is what this election is all about. Oh, my God. Oh, COVID and Putin and, trying to make, look, it's Winnie the Pooh trying to make it look as if he's like a strong prime minister. Oh, my God.
To restore economic stability. This hard-earned economic stability
Doesn't even mention the fact that he's there in the pouring rain, but anyway. Is that... Now, I did post a reply, might have binned it. Maybe not. There you go. Andrew, you must know after your own campaign that not only Lancashire but the whole country is done with your government. Being tone deaf to ordinary people is what brought you down and what will bring Sunak down. Anyway, he hasn't commented on it. He's left it up. Good for him. As somebody has liked it and retweeted it. But, tone deaf. Tone deaf. He's still tone deaf. Though I suppose what's he going to put on don't vote for Rishi Sunak? Because, so this is Rishi Sunak.
The UK. Putin announced the military operation just before 3 a.m.
This is where Andrew gets his style from these, these ridiculous, they're just so staged, so false, as if Rishi Sunak looks like he could stand up to Putin. He's just, Putin would just laugh at him in his face. The Winnie the Pooh Prime Minister trying to look like a tough guy. Come on.
More than 700 Israelis are now feared dead.
Russia is now placing its economy on a war
Breaking
footing.
news,
China
in a major
and
escalation
Russia
of the crisis in the Middle East.
no
Iran has started a direct attack on Israel.
I came to office above all to restore economic stability. This hard-earned economic stability was only ever meant to be the beginning. The question now is how and who do you trust to turn that foundation into a secure future for you, your
And not
family,
you.
and our country. Now is the moment for Britain to choose its future. Put record amounts of funding into our NHS. They're stopping the boats with our Rwanda policy. And we will ensure that the next generation grows up smoke-free. We prioritise energy security.
So that smoke-free thing's not happening because they haven't been able to get that through because he called a general election. They had to try and rush through all, as much legislation as possible, and they didn't get the smoke-free thing through. So that's not even true. That's not going through as it stands.
And we fully funded an increase in defence spending to 2.5% of GDP. These uncertain times call for a clear plan and bold action to chart.
Well, a clear plan might have just been taking an umbrella out there with you. So you talk about a guy who didn't even take, what was he trying to say? Oh, look how tough I am. I can stand here in the rain. Why didn't he take an umbrella or have someone hold an umbrella for him? Maybe he didn't want to do that because it looked like, some subservient. His wife could have held an umbrella for him, couldn't she? That wouldn't look like it was... There was a brilliant picture of Barack Obama with an umbrella. Let me find it. Just showing that you can look cool with an umbrella. Let me have a look. Oh, so they've even put on, there's a video here. Let's have a look at this. The difference between Trump and Obama using an umbrella. Let's have a look at that. Look, he knows how to use an umbrella, not only for himself, but for all of them, because he's, this is how you look cool in the rain. So that's been all over social media as well. Barack Obama is, like it, love him or hate him, Barack Obama, he's pretty cool, isn't he? What happens when President Trump has an umbrella? Oh dear me. Look, he's not even holding it over his own. It's like his son. Yeah, fuck off, son. Oh, fuck off, Melania. I don't care what happens to your hair. I'm just going to hold it over me. Come on. Let's watch that again. That was so funny. Oh, no. There you go. That's how you be a gentleman. He's so cool, isn't he, Barack Obama? Whatever you think about his politics or whatever, you can't deny. Look at that. He knows how to use an umbrella in a cool way. And not only for him, but for 2 other people as well. Oh, good old Barack Obama. Yeah, do you think prime ministers in future will have lessons on how to use an umbrella? Look at Trump. And he's there. He don't even care about his own kid. Doesn't care about his kid. He's worried that if he gets rained on, all the orange will drip down his face. Like, does he care about Melania? Oh dear, dear me. She just walked straight past him. Fuck off, Donald. Oh dear me, hilarious. So going back to Andrew Snowden. So this was the
calls to a secure future. Who has that plan? Who is prepared to take the bold action necessary to secure a better future for our country and our children? Over the next few weeks, I will fight for every vote. I will earn your trust, and I will prove to you that only a Conservative government led by me will not put our hard-earned economic stability at risk. I hope that my work since I became Prime Minister shows that we have a plan and are prepared to take bold action necessary for our country to flourish. Because I'm guided by doing what is right for our country not what is easy.
Oh, what? What? They're actually using this in his PR strategy. Come on. Actually using that in his PR strategy. That was
Guided by doing what is right for our country, not what is easy.
Not what
shows we have a
Oh my
plan
God, I
and
can't
are
believe
prepared to take bold action necessary for our country to flourish. Because I'm guided by doing what is right for our country, not what is easy.
Yes, he's doing what's right, not what is easy. That's why I didn't have an umbrella, because he does what's right, not what's easy. It's too easy. It's too easy to use an umbrella. Good God. Anyway, so there you go. Of course, Andrew will be supporting Rishi, and he will be supporting Sarah Brickcliffe, MP in Haslingden. You know, he's a Conservative at the end of the day, but I tell you what, if, you know, he's still doing his little food things. Oh, I did like this, because look, that's Heidi, his dog. So he's got a German Shepherd, so it can't be all bad. I should have commented that, but I will get thrown off in the end if I keep making, if I, you know, I'm not going to keep making nasty comments. But I mean, I don't think the comment that I made was nasty. It's just the truth. You know, wake up, read the room. Please, please read the room. Whatever you think, stop being tone deaf to the country. But I like Heidi. She's cute. Yeah. I mean, do you know, I'd quite like Andrew to cook me a meal, because he seems to be quite a good cook. There he is. There he is, poor Andrew. Well, I'm joking when I say poor Andrew. I don't mean it. I don't know what he's going to do next. Maybe he'll be one of these MPs, you know, that are standing down Michael Gove's constituency, because I think Michael Gove's constituency is relatively safe, but the Liberal Democrats are, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of tactical voting in this election. I know that for a fact, because people that I know that are involved in politics in the UK, people are getting together and they're deciding who to vote for in constituencies. You know, if the Liberal Democrats have got the best chance, they're going to be voting for the Liberal Democrats. If Labour have got the best chance, they're going to be voting for Labour. Organised tactical voting is going on, because everyone is so sick of the Tories. So be interesting to see what happened. I think it's going to be an interesting election. I'll try not to bore you too much. Well, I'm not boring you really, because you don't have to watch the video if you don't want to, but I am going to still go back to true crime videos and things. It's just that there will be, you know, at the end of the day, as long as there's anything to talk about, I will be talking about things about the election. And I just hope you all vote. As I say, it doesn't matter to me if you vote, who you vote for, as long as you vote for who you believe really will make Britain better. Okay, so I'll see you really soon, as always, in the next video. Remember to live and love wisely, carefully. Maybe go into politics. They're looking for MPs in the Tory party. And I will see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye. Thank you.